Political analyst Dr. Jeff Sadow back once again. Dr. Jeff, thank you for taking time for us, sir.
Sure.
Let me start here, and then you can either say, Robert, that's so on the money I can't believe it, or you can just tell me I'm crazy. Pertaining to the current state of the presidential race and the vote count, what occurs to me is all the people that told me that I had a tinfoil hat, that I was crazy, that I was a conspiracy theorist during the Russian collusion hoax, the ones who made that up, the ones who implemented it, nearly got away with it. They're the same ones that are telling me that the election count is all legit. What do you think about that?
Well, there's no doubt there's going to be some litigation and some recounts and the like. The Supreme Court already signaled in a few cases prior to the election that it would be very open to looking at these kinds of things, and so I can't say that you're totally wrong on this.
Robert asked me a question, Dr. Jeff. Where will we be 1 week from today, and then where will we be in 30 days? What is your guess?
In 1 week from today, we'll have unofficial final totals for all the states. A month from now, we will be on the cusp of the mandatory reporting to the House of Representatives of the state certifications, and in between, there'll be a whole lot of litigation to come up with those final numbers.
If that's the case, and it does in fact go all the way to the Supreme Court, a number of these cases, as they invariably will, I assume, the Coney Barrett confirmation is going to loom larger and larger, don't you think?
Probably. I mean, she wasn't asked. No, she was asked questions about these kinds of matters, and she basically said she wouldn't know until the case actually appeared in front of her what she was going to say, which is a pretty standard answer by all these nominees. So, I would guess that she would be, and the court would be very faithful to the Bush versus Gore ruling in 2000, and the necessity of following the election rules as they are in place set by legislatures. And so, I suspect that's going to cause some changes in these final vote totals. Whether it'll be enough to change the winner is another matter.
When you look
Dr.
at
Jeff, let me ask you about...
go ahead, Aaron. I'm sorry.
Our current mayor, Adrian Perkins. I'm shifting from the presidential politics for a moment. Lame duck. What's your opinion of what happens with him now?
I suspect that for one reason or another, either by his choice or maybe not by his choice, that this is going to be his only term as mayor. It still baffles me why he ran for the Senate. I mean, there are reasons to do it, obviously, but I think the negatives outweigh the positive, and yet he still did it. And really, in my mind, the only reason that he would do it, given those things, is that he doesn't really see himself in office for a second term.
Do you think the run had anything to do with, is hubris too strong a word?
Oh, maybe a little bit. It may be more branding than anything else, and looking towards a post-Shreveport career, let's say.
Would it surprise you if he made a run for, let's say, lieutenant governor or attorney general?
Yeah. I mean, when you perform so poorly in a statewide election, there's not going to be a lot of confidence inspired in you for those that would be activist donors and the like that would help you in that kind of campaign. So I suspect that his future in the next few years is going to be outside of or on the periphery of politics and not an elective office.
Does he finish his term in office as mayor?
Yeah, I think he does. But again, I'm not sure that he really wants to run for re-election at this point.
You used the term baffled a couple of seconds ago in reference to the reasons that he ran against Bill Cassidy. But you have to have thought about it. You had to have really sort of grounded around a little bit. What do you think the reasons were? And do you think he was, because Aaron brought it up yesterday, do you think at some level he was a bit of a sacrificial lamb for the Democrats? It's explain to us what you think.
Well, sure. I mean, he took one for the team there, and you don't want to give a free ride to the other major party in these kinds of contests. And people, I'm sure, came to him and said, "Well, you do this. We've got donations that can come your way. We got some campaign infrastructure and the like. You just have to be a warm body out there and go for it." So, but at the same time, he knew that this would shine a larger light on his controversial 2 years here now in Shreveport as mayor, and plus it opens up the charge if you're thinking about re-election. That this is a guy who comes in 2 years ago saying that you need a different approach, the city's in crisis, and then you want to bail out in 2 years, and that's certainly something that opponents would use against him. So again, the only way that to me it seems like it's rational behavior here, knowing all this is going to happen, is that you really aren't conceiving yourself of being in that office 2 years from now.
Let me ask you this about fundraising real quick, Robert. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
The money he raised in this federal election, if he has any left over, I'm understanding that money can only be used in another federal election. So he couldn't use it in a statewide race or a race for re-election to mayor. Is that right or not?
Yeah, that's correct. The bitter rule. So he have to end up giving it. You could give it away to other candidates and the like, other Democrats. But he himself can't use it in a state contest.
Is there anything that you can think of, anything good come out of this run for Adrian Perkins?
Again, in terms of the Adrian Perkins brand that could exist outside of elective office, I think that was the positive for him out of this. In terms of the world of politics, so I don't see where it really did him any good.
Dr. Jeff Sadow, political analyst. Great stuff as always, sir. Thank you for your time.
Sure.